So welcome all of you and have a good morning. So before we start, we are going to discuss about Python in today's session as well as in the few sessions to come next. I am Amit Ranjan and I have been working as a big data consultant and developer mostly. So I have been working in Python, Java and Scala along with frameworks of big data for last more than 5 years.
Okay, so let me give you some background of what we were discussing in the last session, and we will join from there itself. Okay, this is the file which we are having, and you see this is the ID of the user, and this is the product purchased by the user. So we have got ID of the user, name of the user, and product which has been purchased by the user. So we have to read this particular file which contains 10 records. So this is our file, the content of the file, and we would like to first question is get a list of or get all the unique users. This is what we want. So this is the user ID, this is the name, this is the product. So you see the list of unique users are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we are going to do is we are going to read the file line by line, and after that we will extract we will extract all the things. Basically, we will extract ID because this is required, and then we will maintain a set. A set is a data structure which contains only the unique values. We will talk more about set, but before we talk more about set, let us discuss this problem statement. One point I would like to tell about set is, suppose you have got a set of numbers like 1, 10, -1, 6, these numbers. If you want to add 5, then it will be added. But if you want to add 6, now see, 6 already exists here. So since 6 already exists, so it will not be added. The operation will succeed, whatever operation you want, it will succeed, but it will not add anything. So in this case, in this way, set maintains only the unique values. So it will add the value if it does not exist. If it already exists, it will not add. So we will maintain a set, and that's it. So finally, when we are done reading all the files, this particular set will contain all the unique users. And this is what we are trying to do. If you try to see the code, you will come to know that, again, we have discussed all these things before, but F is basically a file. This is my file. I am opening this in the read mode. We will talk more about files in the coming time, but this is the way you open any file to read it. Then we create a set called as unique users. This is a set, it is an object of set. And then we read the content of the line, the file line by line. So f.readLine, suppose you have got a file and the file contains multiple lines. So what this does is f.readLine, it will read the first line and it will return to you whatever is the value. So we are storing the value in X. And if you call f.readLine again, then it will read the next line for you and it will return the value. If you call it again, it will read the next line and it will return the value. So in this way, if the read line method reads one line at a time, and it will continue to read it. Once the end of the line is there, it will give you blank. So blank string. So if you get a blank string, it means you have come to the end of the file. And since we are maintaining this, if it is not end of the file, what we will do, we will split X on the basis of comma. We will get the ID, which is the first element of the list, and we will add it in the set. And then we will read the next line. And this process will continue unless we have completely read the whole file. And finally, if you want to print the unique users, you can simply print it, or whatever you want to do, anything, you can do that. So this was a recap of what we have already discussed. If you want to calculate how many unique users are there, so you can say like print number of unique users is equal to %d, and then we will replace it with the length of unique users. And we would also like to in this way, if you try to run the cells, you will get the list of unique users and number of unique users both. So in this way, you have come across one important point, two important conclusions from here. Like here, this %s is for string replacement. So basically, this unique users is your set. So the string representation of set is inside the curly braces. And all the values of the set. The next thing is there is an operation of function called as len. Len is quite a versatile function. So you can pass a set, or you can pass a list, or you can pass a string, and it will give you the length of all the number of all the elements. So here the set contains 4 elements, 1, 4, 2, 3, these 4. So the number of unique users is 4. %d, if you remember, this is for integer substitution. It has got a strong resemblance with the C programming language in this regard. So shall we proceed? So in the first video, we talked about the motivation of learning Python, and we tried to get some introduction to Python. And in the second video, we have started with the hands-on activity. And in this session, we are going to continue the hands-on. Basically, we are going to get some problems and solve it. And then we will also learn some more concepts. And in 2 more sessions apart from today, that is the plan. So now we already know that we have got ID, we have got name, and we have got product. These 3 fields. Now I want to know for every ID, I want to have list of products. That is, what are the different products purchased by a user? If you see the file, not this one, you will conclude that ID 1 has purchased the products P1, P2, and P1. So P1 is coming twice, so you would like to maintain it like P1 and P2. So these are the 2 products 1 has purchased. For 2, 2 has purchased P2, P3, and P1. Similarly, for 3 and 4, they have purchased some products. So I want to have this kind of result, like for a particular ID, what are the different products purchased by that particular ID. How to do that? Okay, so let us discuss about this particular problem. What we can do is, the one thing is read the file line by line. This is what we are going to do. Read it line by line, and then we will extract. What things? We will extract ID and product. Okay, so we will extract the ID and product. Now we need to have these 2 things, the ID and the list of products purchased by the user. So what we will do is, we will maintain a dictionary. A dictionary is like a map, or you can say a hash map in Python, which contains the key and value. We will maintain key as the ID and we will maintain value as product. But we want to have list of products or list of unique products. So we will maintain a set of products. And so if we extract ID, so we will check if it exists or not. So ID may exist in our dictionary or it may not exist. So if it exists, we will add to the existing set. Else, we will create a new set of products, and we will add it. So how can we check whether a particular ID exists or not, or whether a particular key exists or not? So those who have attended the session before, you might be aware, like a dictionary can be represented something like this inside curly braces. So there is a key, then there is a colon, there is a value, then there is a comma, then key, colon, value, then again comma, key, colon, value. It goes like this. Suppose the key is 1, 2, 3. How will you detect whether a key exists in the dictionary or not? What is the mechanism to check? If key in dict.keys, okay, that's nice. That can be done. So let's try to, that's good. We can work with that. And okay, that's fine. So let's try to implement this in the form of a logic. So what we'll do is we can use most of the code here. We will maintain a dictionary that is user products, which will be a dictionary like this, an empty dictionary in the beginning. And then we will read the content line by line, and then we will extract the ID and product. So temp list 0 will be the ID and temp list 2 will be the product. So then we will check if ID in user products dot keys, if ID is there, then what will we do is we will get the set of products, like set of products is equal to user products and then ID. We will get the existing set of products. In the existing set of products, we will add the current product, okay, and then we will update it, like user product ID is equal to the set of products. So we will update. If it does not exist, then what we are going to do is we are going to create a set of products is equal to set, and then we are going to do the same things, same activity again and again, because it is going to be a new product. And like this. And then finally, that's fine. I think that helps. Yep. And then we can read the user products. So let's try to do this in a segment. Yeah. So here, now finally, once it is done, we will print the dictionary user products dictionary is equal to this. Okay, so let's try to run this cell and see what do we get. Oh, so you see the cell we are getting for the user 1. This \n is a new line character. I will talk about this in some time, but just observe that P2 and P1 are the products for the user 1. P2 and P3 and P2 and P1 are the 3 products for user 2, and similarly for all the for all the users, you are getting the, oh, you see here it is repeating P1 \n and P1 because it is considering these two as 2 different entities. Okay, so we have seen a working code, but this code requires some cosmetic changes. And yes, apart from cosmetic changes, it also requires a functional change. What is the functional change? You see, these two are the same product, but they are repeating because one contains \n and one does not contain \n. So this code is requires, the functionality wise we have understood, but it requires some sort of change, right? So can you suggest anything? What are the changes required here? The first thing is about the \n. So why are we getting the \n? So what happens is every line which we read, where do we read? Using the f.read line. So the line contains \n as the last character because that indicates that a new line is going to come next. Then every line contains \n except for the last line. The last line may or may not contain \n. So now when you are doing a split on the basis of comma, what do we get is, suppose if there are 2 commas like this, you will observe this to be the first field, this to be the second field, and this entire to be the third field, which was your product, except for the last product. Now let's go back to the file to see how the file is. If you see the file for D, that is the user ID 4, one is P3, basically this is P3 \n, then there is P1 \n, and then there is one more P1. This P1 does not contain \n. So these two are considered to be distinct, and yes, they are distinct values because we are not eliminating \n. So we have to eliminate \n. This is the first thing. So let's try to do this. How we can do? It's fairly simple. Before you do the split, you can do strip. The strip function will strip. It will remove the beginning spaces, empty spaces, new line characters in the beginning or in the end. It will remove it. Just a moment. Let me open the Python command prompt to display what do I mean. Suppose you have got x is equal to 1, 2, like this. Okay, so if you try to print x, you will get this result, but if you try to print x.strip, you will get this. I hope you understand. The beginning and empty spaces are removed. Not only spaces, but also the new line characters. Suppose it contains \n as well. If you print x, you will get this, but if you print x.strip, you will get the stripped version. So this is one thing, the only change required. And after this change, if you go to cell and run the cells, now you see for 4, these are the only 2 products. This is the one change. Okay. Any other thing? So see, functionality wise, it is working fine. Any other thing which comes to your mind which you would like to improve in this product, in this code? Not in order. Okay, no, order was, however, not required. We wanted the list of unique products. So ordering was never an issue. We don't want order. If you want order, that's a functional change. that was not in a requirement. So basically, if you want any ordering of products like P1, P2, P3, it goes like that. You may want that. If you want, that's an additional requirement. Okay, so I would attract your attention to one thing. It's basically a simple programming. You see, these two lines of code, they are quite redundant. They are coming in if, they are coming in else. The only difference is this set products, they are different depending upon if and else. But these two lines of code, they are quite duplicate. They are repeating themselves. So what we can do is we can take them outside of if and else. Okay. So the lines of code will be shortened by some amount. We can use something like this. The result is the same. Okay. This is fine. Yes, you can do that in some IDE. You can do that. You can do there. One other alternative here is you can use print at multiple places. Like you can print x is equal to %s. Then you can give %x. Okay. Then you can print here. So you can print it at multiple places to do that. In IDE, you can certainly run it multiple times. So like %s. And similarly, you can also have it here like print. I mean, this is one alternative like this. And then if you want to run it, you will get lots of printf statements. You see, there are lots of printf statements. You can debug, I mean, you can try to see how the functionality works. Like first you get X like this, then you get ID, you get product. Your set products is empty in the beginning. Then you get X as this, then you get ID, and then you get products. You see, so all these things are getting printed. And you can also observe a new line character all the time. See, there is an empty line here. There is an empty line here. Why? Because the X you got, this X contains 1a p1 \n. So the \n is causing the empty line here and here and so on. So if you want to see the flow, you can do that and you can comment it out if not required. Oh, looks like comment doesn't work this way in Jupyter. Okay. Okay, so now I will talk about any other optimization. There is one more chance of optimizing it, and that is we are checking if ID exists or not exists. And in order to check this, what happens is we are calling the function this user products.keys. Now basically user products is a dictionary and you are calling .keys. .keys will give you a list of keys. This is the first thing. And the second thing is you are checking if the ID is present in the list of keys or not. A list of keys, a list is like an array. So to check whether an ID is a part of this array or not, in the worst case, in the best case, you will find it at the first position. But in the worst case, you will find it at the last position. So basically you are scanning the entire list to check whether an ID is present or not. And if the user's list is quite large, getting a list of keys is an expensive operation. So this particular line, we can think to optimize it. As of now, we are having only 10 lines, so that's fine because it's very small number of lines. But and we had only 4 different users, so that's not much of a pain. But for large data set, these two operations which are combined in a single statement, I hope you understand. So do you agree we can think of optimizing this? So the question is, how can we optimize it? Okay, so let me show you one thing. Let me create a dictionary first. Okay, here I'm going to create a dictionary called as D, and the dictionary contains 1, and suppose it contains P1. Similarly, it contains 2, and it contains P2, like this. Okay, this is a dictionary. If I want to access D1, I will get something. If I want to access D2, I will get something. If I want to access D3, I will get some kind of exception, and that is key error. So key error is, you get a key error if you try to access a key which does not exist. So what we can do is fairly simple. See, we can use try catch, just like other programming language. Try, suppose my val is equal to D1, okay, and then we will try except key error. So if I get any key error, I will simply print key not found. Okay, so let's try to, and then once this is done, say first of all I will use val is equal to some random value like -1. Okay, and finally I will print val. Okay, so let's try to see how it works. My val has got a value -1, and let's see. Okay, now let's see the value of val. Val has got value P1 because the value was found. Now let us try with D3 and let's see what happens. If we try to work with D3, you see you are getting printed key not found, and this is a very fast operation because searching for a particular key in a dictionary is extremely fast in operation. So what we can do is, let's think of this. We can have set products here in the beginning, which is empty, and then we will try to first let's go like this. Try, we will try, okay. Set products is equal to, no, let me create a new program for this. That will be quite better to compare. So what we'll do is, let it be there, and then we can try. Let us remove this if, and let me also remove this. Okay. Okay, so try this. What will happen if this try doesn't succeed? We will get an exception called as key error. In the key error, we will not make any change to this. Yeah, that's it. So let's try to run this. Okay, so let's try to run this cell. The result is the same. Oh, sorry, I forgot to strip it. Yeah, the strip was not added. Yeah. So if I try to run this, you see the result is the same. But yes, now you understand that this kind of behavior is quite optimized as compared to the previous behavior. So in this segment, you also learned about the try catch block. So you can have try, you can have except, and then you can have finally as well. So what happens is you try something. If you get any kind of exception, it can be caught here. It may or may not be caught. For example, if you receive any exception which is not key error, this block will not be executed. And after both of them execute, you will execute finally. So whether you got any exception or not, in the finally you will be having the result. Any other optimization you can think of in this program? Please go ahead. Now see, I think we are creating this set products object here, and we are creating this object again here. So this is basically set products. One object is getting created, and again one more object is getting created, either in try or in except. So what we can do is we can try to minimize the object creation. For every exception, do we have different create? Yes, we have different types of exceptions. So to catch a different type of exception, we have got different exceptions. For example, if the key error is not there, then what kind of error? So we can use except, say, one is the interrupted. Is this the spelling? Interrupted exception. Okay, yeah, this is the spelling. So there is one more exception called as interrupted exception. So if you want to handle that exception, you may want to do something like print. So for every type of exception, you have got different mechanism. The base class is exception. So if you try to use exception, that is the base class for all the exceptions. So you can print exception occurred. So whichever is catched first, that will be cast. That will be caught. Okay. So whichever is caught first, and that will be used. So you see, interrupted, and this was not caught. Only this key error was caught. You are not getting anything in the print. But yes, for different types of exception, you will have to use different blocks. And yeah, so what we can do is we can initialize it to a null. A null means without any object, just a variable. It's a null. It is not pointing to any object. So you can try that, and the result will be the same, but it will be slightly more optimized than the previous versions. So we talked about many things. Basically, we created a list of all the elements of the input line. So that was the temp list. So temp list 0 contains the ID, temp list 1 contains the name of the person, and temp list 2 contains the product. So that is the parsing of the line. Okay. So now I have got one more question, and after that question we will talk more interesting stuff about Python. So basically what happens is if you go to any organization for interviews, and however the course is mostly for the data science, and I know that it's a data science, I mean plus machine learning and many more interesting stuffs. But if you get into some interviews where you say like you know about Python, so they may be interested to ask some programming questions on Python. So I have got just a couple of questions in Python. They are very small, just 3 to 4 lines of code, that's it. Yeah, they are not complex, because you will never apply for a Python developer, I assume. You will be a data scientist, obviously, who will be using Python to get the work done. But still, idea of Python always helps. In my current project also, we use lots of Python. R is also there, but there is a strong affinity towards Python. So that's an interesting programming. You would have observed it's very simple to just write the code which is into your mind using Python. It's much simple as compared to many other programming languages. The learning curve is also very small. One can learn Python in just a week time. 1 week to 2 weeks are fine. Okay, so as a continuity of this, I would like to add one more thing. One question is, I want the product and number of purchase, like how many times a product has been purchased. For example, if you look at here, the product is P1, it is purchased here, 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 and here. So P1 is purchased 5 times. P2 is purchased once, twice, thrice. So P2 is purchased thrice. P3 is purchased twice. So I want this kind of result, the product and how many number of purchases have been made on the product. How can we do that? The hint is we will be doing something which is very, very similar to this. So any suggestions, any input? Create a dictionary where keys are product and values are the number of purchase, which will be incremented for each repeated purchase. Extremely perfect. That's perfect for them. I think that helps. So what we'll do is, first of all, let me copy this same code and we will be reading the file line by line. Let me tell you one more thing. A short code of reading the file line by line is, suppose we are reading it f.readline and then we are again reading it. So basically we are reading one line at a time. If you call f.readlines in a single shot, the entire content of the file will be displayed in the form of a list. Every line will be one item of the list. So if you want to read the entire file in a single shot, you can use readlines and X here. So, and then you can go ahead and program it like for a line in X, and then your code will go here. But this is not suggested because it is good for small files. But for large files, all the content of the file may not fit into the memory. For example, assuming your file is 100 gigabytes. This may or may not fit into your memory depending upon how much RAM do you have. So this is one precaution you have to take. If the file is small, and small and large depends on what is the resource on your machine, how much resource is allocated to the Python program. So suppose the Python program has got 10 GB of RAM and then the file is of 1 gigabytes. Then you can certainly use f.readlines, assuming there is no other resource utilized in any other process. So you have to decide on that regard, because scanning through the list of items on your list can be very, very fast, because read line is reading from the disk. So this process is relatively slow as compared to scanning through the list. So I hope you understand. You have to take a call. So if your file size is small, you can load the whole file into the memory in the form of a list and you can play with it. Else you can use that. So I will, since in our case the size of file is small, what I will do is, in this example, I will use read lines. And then what I'll do is, I will use, say, let me call it lines. And then I will use for X in lines. So X will be our each line. So we need not to read it again. So I will give one example of this context as well. So depending upon the size of your file and the resource utilization, resource availability, you have to take a call which one to go for. Okay, so we have read the file. What we will do is we will have product underscore frequency. Okay, this is a dictionary which is blank. We will read the product, nothing else is required. We don't require any set, so what we will do is we will get the frequency. Frequency will be inside product frequency. If product frequency is not found, we will update the frequency to be 1. The default value of frequency will be 1, except key error. We are not going to do anything. Just ignore the key error. We are going to use pass. Pass means no code. We are not going to do anything in the key error. Finally, what we'll do is frequency will be this plus 1. Okay. Now you can understand. We are going to extract the product, which will be temp list 2. The product can be in the dictionary or it cannot be. If it is in the dictionary, we are going to make the frequency as the existing frequency plus 1. Else we are not going to do anything. And user, and then in this product, in this product frequency, we are going to make the key as product. Frequency. Okay. And finally, we would like to view the product frequency. So let's try to run this, see how it works. Okay, so let's run this. You see, P1 has been purchased 5 times, P2 has been purchased 3 times, P3 has been purchased 2 times. So this is the way we can play with this. So in this exercise, you got to know about the pass keyword. Pass keyword is just to pass it, as the name says. It will not do anything. You may try to remove this keyword. Let's see. If you remove this keyword and then you try to run this, run cells, expected and indented block. So basically this is the start of a block and you are not doing anything. So you have to do anything in the block. So what happens in Java or many other programming languages is you can give an opening bracket and a closing bracket, like curly braces like this, opening and closing. It means the block is not doing anything. But in Python, it's not there. You have to specify what you want to do inside the block. So in that cases, this pass keyword is quite handy in those situations. You don't want to do anything in the block. So I hope you understand what we are going to do is we are going to take the product and then we are also maintaining a kind of dictionary where we are having the product and we are having the frequency. So first of all, we will check if it exists or not. So if it does not exist, which will be the case for the very first time, we will insert the product and the frequency as 1. You see, this is the frequency which is 1. If it exists, then we are going to take this frequency add 1 to it, whatever is the frequency. See, we are going to take the existing frequency and then we are going to add 1, and then whatever is the new frequency, the frequency will be either 1 or this. Out of these two, we are going to update it in the dictionary. That's it. In some of the interviews, they ask you a question and you can try to answer this question now. The question is, you have got a file. It's a very elementary question. It's basically a word count example, like how many times a word has occurred. This file contains lines, and in this line there are many words. So there are many words in the line and many lines are there in the file. For example, there can be word like this is, Python is, easy as, this. Suppose this is your content of the file. So this has come 2 times, is has come 2 times, as has come once, Python has come once. So basically you want to tell the word count, that is the word and the count of that number of times the word has appeared in the file. You want to use this. How can you write a program in Python to implement this kind of logic? Assuming that a space is separator between the words and there is no other punctuation. Punctuation means there is no comma, no full stop, no semicolon, no quotes like that. Okay, so what is your approach, your pseudocode for this? So first of all, we have to create a file. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create a file like this is Python is easy. I did not know how easy it is. So let's assume this is our file, and I'm going to save it inside the same location, some location on my machine. Word count, okay, .txt. So this is my file, word count.txt. I'm going to read the file, and I'm having a dictionary called as word underscore frequency. So assuming the file is small, I will read the whole file in a single shot. If the file is not small, you know how to do that. You can use read line method. So I'm going to show you first what read lines contain. So this is my command prompt. If I go here, if I use this, and then if I call f.read lines, you see I'm getting a list, like this is the first element of the list, this is the second element of the list, this is the third element of the list, and this is the fourth element, and so on. So every line along with this \n in the end is a content of the file. It's the content of the list. Whereas if you try to do f.read line, you will read only the one line. Then again, if you try to do, then you will read the next line. Again, if you try to do, you will read the third line. So here you are reading it line by line. You are iterating over the file. But in the first case, you are getting all the content of the file in a list. This is what we talked sometime back. So what we are going to do is, we are going to, for everything in the line, we are going to maintain a word list. And the word list will be, it's good to strip it and then split on the basis of a space. And now for every word in this word list, for word in, I hope you are getting it. For every line, you are stripping the line and then you are splitting on the basis of a space so that you get a list of words. In the list of words, for every word, what we are going to do is we are going to make the frequency as 1 and then we are going to try. The word will be the key and the frequency will be the value. So it's very much related to the previous example we discussed. So let's try to run this and see how it works. So if you run this, go to cell and run cells, you will see this has come 1 times, is has come 3 times, Python has come 2 times. If you want to format it a bit, so if you don't want to print it something like this, you can print like for word in this word frequency dot keys. Here we can use dot keys because we are using only once. We are not using multiple times. So what we can do is we can print that word percentage s has, or we can also enclose it inside single quotes just to highlight it, has appeared in the file %d times, and then we can specify the word will be it, and the word is this word which is there as the key, and the frequency of the word is what frequency of that word. So you can try like this to make it more fancy to read it. Oh, what happened? Unhashable type dictionary. Oh, sorry. This is word, not word frequency. Okay, so you see, word this has appeared in the file 1 times, is has appeared 3 times, Python has appeared 2 times. So, I mean, just to make it fancy in the readability, you can use something like this. Okay, so that's here. Now we will talk a few more things. So, I've got 2 questions. The first question is, you are given 3 numbers and you have to tell, it may be in a form of list like 1, 2, 3, something like this, 3 numbers, positive or negative, and then you have to tell whether they are Pythagorean triplet or not. So a Pythagorean triplet is one where suppose there's a right triangle, you know all these things. So suppose this is the perpendicular, this is base, and this is hypotenuse. So if h square is equal to p square plus b square, this is the formula for the Pythagoras theorem formula. So basically, suppose you have a number, say 6, 8, and 10. So you know 10 square is equal to 6 square plus 8 square. So this is a Pythagorean triplet. But for 1, 2, 3, there are different combinations like 1 square plus 2 square. Is it equal to 3 square? No. 1 square plus 3 square is equal to 2 square? No. 1 square, no, not again. So 2 square plus 3 square is equal to 1 square? No. So this is not a Pythagorean triplet. So basically, a square of one number should be equal to the sum of squares of the other two numbers. Then only it will form a Pythagorean triplet. So Pythagorean triplet essentially represents the length of three edges of a right angle triangle. So you have got three numbers and you have to tell yes or no. Yes if they are Pythagorean triplet, no if they are not. How are you going to approach on this? There can be many ways to do this. So let me try with one approach and you can tell me if it is fine, and if it is fine we can move ahead with other approaches. So suppose we have got numbers as a list of three numbers. It can be 1, 2, 3 or any other list of numbers. So what we'll do is so we'll check like if nums 0 square is equal to nums 1 square plus nums 2 square, okay? Or, so there are three conditions, right? If this is equal to this, or this, or this. If nums 1 square is the sum of other two, or nums 2 square is the sum of other two squares. So if any of these conditions matches, then we are going to print that yes, they are Pythagorean triplet. Okay. Else we are going to print the reverse, like not a Pythagorean triplet. So let's try to run this. Okay. Okay, so if you go by this and to equate, you use double equal to, not a single equal to. A single equal to is for assignment, double is equal to is for comparison. You see, not a Pythagorean triplet. But if you make it like 4, 5, 3, so 5 square is a sum of 3 square and 4 square. So now if you run it, you see it is a Pythagorean triplet. Is this clear? Any other way? This is certainly a way, but any other way you can think of? So in this case, you see this works. This is certainly fine, but the problem is you are going to perform lots of operations over here, squaring numbers many times, right? So in the worst case, you will be evaluating this part. Suppose if it is false, then you will be evaluating this part. If this is also false, then you will be evaluating this part. So if there is an OR condition, suppose there are three conditions. This is the first condition, this is second condition, this is the third condition. So from left, the conditions are evaluated. Whichever condition is true, the other conditions are not evaluated because it is OR. So what we can do is, the first thing is, in a step 1, I mean the other way, this certainly works, get the max. Get maximum number. If it is a Pythagorean triplet, this maximum number will be your hypotenuse, right? Because the largest side of the triangle is your hypotenuse, so you get the maximum number. Then in the second step, square this maximum, and the other way is sum square of others. How to get others? There are two ways. One way is to remove this maximum number and then you will get the others, or you loop through it and you exclude the maximum. These are the two ways. and then you compare whether these two are equal or not. So let me try to present this in the form of a code of what do we mean is, suppose we have got the nums. So nums will be here, and then you get h. Suppose h is your hypotenuse. So h is equal to max of nums, getting the maximum in the nums. So max is a function. It is an inbuilt function. Then what we will do is, from the nums, we will remove h, and we will add all the squares of every other number. So it's something like this. You can get like a square is equal to, you can call like map for nums. You can give lambda x. You are going to get x square on the nums, and you are going to sum the squares. So there is others is equal to sum of all the squares, and then there is so you will compare like if h square equals, I will call it other squares. If it is there, then you will print it, else you will do the other way. Well, so this also works. The lines of code are quite large as compared to the previous example. So if you run like this, and if you want to run the cells, you will get like it is not a Pythagorean triplet. And here if you make it 4, 5, and let's try to run this again, you will see it is a Pythagorean triplet. So in this example, we talked about the lambda functions, operations over the list. What you can do is, instead of using map, you can also use, you can just ignore this particular line of code, and you can call other squares is equal to, we'll have to import the functools. You remember we also worked with reduce. So if you take two numbers lambda x and y, we are going to add, do the square and add it. No, that will just increase the complexity. Let's not use that. Yeah. Well, so this is one way. I don't know which way you would like, but yes, this is also one of it. And in order to get the list of squares, the other way to do that is the list comprehension. That is I square for I in nums. So if I remove this line, for every number in the nums, it will give me a square of those numbers. So you can run this as well, and it will give you the same result. So if you know about these small concepts, you can apply the way you want. So in case interviewer asks you to present different way to solve the same problem, you should be able to do that. This question is quite common in interviews. Now, adding to the same, suppose there is a question like you have to print Pythagorean triplets. You have to print all Pythagorean triplets where the hypotenuse is less than or equal to 10. All the Pythagorean triplets below this. So if you have to print all these, what you need is, you need 3 loops in the last question. So it can be something like for I in say 1 to 10, then the other loop will be for j in 1 to 10, and then for k in 1 to 10, then you will see if I square plus j square is equal to k square, then you will add this to somewhere. Okay, it means this ijk combination is your Pythagorean triplet, because the maximum limit is 10. 10 is what you want. So in order to apply this, let us try to see how we can do this in Python. So suppose I have got a list of triplets, which is an empty list. And what I will do is, I will use for I in, I can use range. You remember range is there, range will give you the integers including the first and excluding the last. You can make it I to 11 instead of using basically I plus 1 to 11. If I square plus j square is equal to k square. If that is the case, what we will do is, in the list triplets, we will add. What we will add? We will add a tuple of I, j and k. So this will give us all the Pythagorean triplets from 1 to 10. Finally, you may be interested to know list triplets. So if you want to print it, you can print like triplets is equal to %s, and then you can print all the list of triplets. If we try to run this, object remote list triplets. Okay, let's use append. You see, these are the Pythagorean triplets where the maximum size of hypotenuse can be 10. If you want to increase it, say I want like say max hypotenuse is equal to say 100 till 100. So you can use that as well. So here you can call max h plus 1. We are using +1 because the last element is not included. Let me know if it is not making sense. I can try to elaborate on the same. So these are all the Pythagorean triplets where the maximum size of hypotenuse can be 100. So in this way, by changing the max h, what you require, suppose you require Pythagorean triplet till a maximum size of 20, you can simply make a change here and it will give you all those. Now the thing is, yeah, is this clear? I mean, I'm not sure whether it should not be difficult to understand. If it is clear, I will discuss one more way to do the same, which will be quite compact. So what you can do is, a powerful feature of list comprehension can help us. What we are doing is, instead of writing all these three things in different lines, you can do all these things in less number of lines. So for I in range this, for j in range this, for k in range this, if this is the condition, then what do you want to return? You would like to return ijk, a tuple of these three numbers. So what happens is, this is the outer loop, this is the inner loop, And this is again one more inner loop. After this loop, you are evaluating this condition. If this condition succeeds, if this condition is verified, then you are returning a tuple of this. So ultimately it will return a list of all the tuples, and you can simply use list triplets is equal to this. Now you can simply print it. So sometimes you may, you see, we're getting the numbers. Sometimes you may see a code like this, so you should be able to understand what the code is doing. And if you want to more customize it, you can use something like this. If you want to customize it further, you can use like this. And this is it. This is the same result. So you see this, all these lines of code and these lines of code, they are identical in operation. The representation is different and it decreases the lines of code. So what is happening here is, I repeat again, this is the first level of loop. This is the inner loop. Just the same way you discussed further, like this is your outer loop, this is your inner loop, this is one more inner loop, this is it. And then further is your condition. If all these things match, then you get a tuple. You see a tuple of 3 numbers, like this is one tuple, this is the other tuple, this is the other, and so on. So you get a tuple of numbers, and finally you get a list of tuples, which are basically the Pythagorean triplets. Okay, so today we talked about many interesting concepts of Python. I tried to give you some real examples. We tried to talk about how you can read from a file. Second is how you can parse the content of a file, mostly using the split method. Then we talked about range. We have seen range before as well. We talked about the operations over list and like len functionality, max of the list, removing the element from the list, adding the element in the list. We talked about set, how to create a set and all those. We talked about exception handling today, how you can handle exception in Python. We talked about dictionaries and some of the situations where dictionaries are really helpful. We talked about list comprehension, which will certainly reduce the number of lines you are working with. And apart from these, we took help of certain examples. Going forward, we will talk about modules, we will talk about classes. These are the 2 things we will talk, and then when it comes to classes, then there will be talk about inheritance. We will talk about the objects of the classes. We will also talk about abstract classes, and after that we will talk about operations over the files. So the file handling we have discussed, but we have just discussed how to read a file. There are many ways. Suppose you want to write to a file and you want to perform both operations, read and write to a file. You want to seek, that is skip to a different location in a file, that is a random read write. As of now, we talked about reading things in sequence. So if you want to do random read write, or you want to read or write binary files. Binary files are quite space efficient files using pickle module. We will talk about that as well. So the file handling we will discuss in little more detail in the coming session. So modules, classes, file handling, so some things are there. Apart from that, we will also take a look at generators and the yield keyword, which is quite interesting. So many things are still left. So we have covered a lot of ground, but many points will be discussed as we proceed. I have got one final question for the day. So before we end up, any questions from your end? I would like to take it first. Yes, there are user-defined exceptions. You can inherit the exception class and you can create your own exception. That is a possibility. Yeah, you can save it to a different variable and then you can use that. That's possible. Okay, so that is all from my end. Thank you for joining. Just practice, that's important. The more you practice, the more comfort you will have to use Python. Okay then, bye.